Welcome back to Whiskey with E. I'm Eric. Now today we do have a whiskey with the E. We have one of my all-time favorites, Wild Turkey 101. So coming in at 101 proof, which is 50.5%. Oh, everyone would have grew up drinking some Wild Turkey when you're growing up. You probably mixed it with Coke, all that jazz. But honestly, when you later in life and you're deciding to try this neat, it's actually not bad. But I'm going to have a little read at the back and then we're going to pour some up, alrighties? I mean, it's already opened up in this bottle, plenty of air time, so there you go. I've been using some of this to make some different blends. We've been topping it up with some tawny wood, It's filled up in tawny barrels, let's just say. Alrighties, let's have a little read at the back. Here we go. For more than 60 years, legendary master distiller Jimmy Russell has been crafting Wild Turkey 101 one way, the right way. With a high rye content, this iconic bourbon is perfectly aged for up to 6 to 8 years in American oak barrels, with the deepest char for more character. For everyone that's wondering, Alligator 4 is the char that they use. Alright, we bottle at 101 proof, and only once it reaches its full complex flavor of caramel, vanilla, toffee, and spice, as Jimmy says. Like the Kentucky River, Wild Turkey 101 is mighty, bold, and it takes its own sweet time. Just like me in life. Alrighties, let's pour some up. Here we go. Alrighties. Okay, here we go. Now, this one is particularly from 2024. It's from, I can just only see the laser code here, the 12th. So the 12th of January, 2024. If for everyone that doesn't know, you have a little laser code here at the back of the 101 bottle. You can always see when it was released. There you go. Alrighties. Let's have a look at that color. Now, that color isn't necessarily too dark, I mean, compared to what I've been doing with the wood finishes, but it is a nice golden caramel kind of color. You could almost say golden honey. Lovely color. But you know what? Let's give it a nose. Yep, you are getting that caramel, that slight toffee kind of note. The vanillas and like the vanillas, the caramels is there, but it's not like a toasted burnt caramel or anything. I mean, that was more of that baker's, that had more of a roasted-y kind of glazed caramel vibe, roasted peanuts kind of vibe. There's none of that roasted peanuts kind of vibe here. You can almost say it's a little bit nutty, but it's not peanutty. Maybe it's more like slight almonds. Oh man, honestly, this bottle right here, particularly from 2024 January, when I first cracked this, I'm like, wow, I remember turkey to be more cinnamon forward, or it had more orange kind of notes, but honestly, this reminded me of the Kentucky Spirit. I know Kentucky Spirit is also a Wild Turkey product coming in at 101, but keep in mind, 101, the standard, is $70. Kentucky Spirit is $170. So I didn't think that the standard 101 was going to be so close to the Kentucky Spirit. Now, I know that Kentucky Spirit had more baked apple notes, the vanilla notes was popping more, those subtle kind of nuances that would add that extra complexity to the bourbon, but is it an extra $100 worth? My goodness. Honestly, this is nosing beautifully for a standard 101 that you can just pick up on the shelf for $70 here in Australia. It's not bad, guys. You know what? Let's have a taste. Cheers, everyone. There is no bites, there's no spikes, there's no rough edges to that. I mean, look how much oxygen is in here, guys. It has had time to mellow out. I have been using it for different blends, stuff like that. Now, for everyone that doesn't know, Wild Turkey is 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, for their standard bourbon releases. Now keep in mind that same mash bill can taste so different between different wild turkey warehouses, all right? Now they also have a rye mash bill, which is 37% corn, 51% rye, and 12% malted barley, all right? But this is the first mash bill, their standard mash bill. Honestly, that noses beautifully, even as a standard bourbon on the shelf. But you know what? We are going to compare it to what we did here. So pretty much, essentially, what I did was we had some Australian Redgum. We soaked it in some Australian tawny wine, kind of like so. And then we emptied it. Then we filled it up with some Wild Turkey 101. So that's pretty much essentially what's in this glass right now. I'll pour some more in here for you. Alrighties. Put a lid on that. Cork. Now look at the color difference. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yes, there is a cloudy element, but keep in mind, it's essentially like a wet cask, alright? So it was just freshly emptied, like the glass was freshly emptied from the tawny, and then I just topped it up with the Wild Turkey 101. So, you know, there is a lot of that element of the tawny in there. I didn't dry out the wood, then add in the 101 or anything. But look at that color, guys. It is almost just a different bourbon in itself. There you go. Tawny cask finish, we're going to call this. There is like an even reddish tawny hue to it as well. I mean, look at that, if you guys can see. Alrighties. You know what? Let's give this a nose. Ah, the red gum elements in it is just all up front. And deep buried underneath that red gum is your typical wild turkey, that vanilla, the caramel kind of notes. And then interweaving through it all is this raisins and sultana from the tawny. So, you know what? It's levels up from just the standard 101. So that's what I mean. You can do this experiment at home using probably some American oak, you know, whatever kind of acceptable wood that you want to try experiment with. Soak it in some tawny, you know, empty it, put in a bourbon of your choosing, and you can get to experiment like this too. You know what? Let's have a taste. Cheers, everyone. Oh, a slight chocolate note just came in. Yeah, it's all red gummy at the start, but when I say red gummy, don't look at that as it's tannic or it's woody or anything. It's its own flavor. Red gummy. There you go. Then you got that element of the bourbon. Then it just rolls into that raisin sultanas. So sometimes I even think that this is maybe too overly finished. So I would probably want to use elements of this and blend with a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey that I haven't finished anything with, you know, just to tone down that raisins and sultanas a bit. But you know what? It noses beautifully. But let's go back to the 101, see how it compares. Cheers, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you try these wood finishes. Let me know if you enjoy a Wild Turkey 101. I mean, this is where we all started. It's good to go back and just taste to see how it is, you know, compared to everything else that we've been drinking lately, I guess. Anyways, cheers, everyone. Let's go. I mean, that's good, guys. You can't go wrong with a Wild Turkey 101. Yes, the Kentucky Spirit was a lot more softer, had those baked apple vibes, more custardy, vanilla kind of vibes, you know, but for what this is, it's good. You can find it at any liquor store situation. It's a good quintessential bourbon.